USC's Lindsay Gottlieb named the Big Ten Coach of the Year by both the media and her fellow coaches. Gottlieb took over the program 4 years ago, inheriting a team that won 11 games and has won 88 and counting, including a 55-8 mark over the last 2 seasons. The Trojans are 26-2, a record that includes 9 wins over ranked teams, tied for the second most nationally. She's the first USC coach to win a Conference Coach of the Year award in women's hoops since Marianne Stanley did so 32 years ago. And Lindsay Gottlieb joining us now. Coach, congratulations, first of all. What does this award mean to you?
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's really humbling. We have an 18-team league with 13 NCAA tournament teams and so many great coaches. So to be singled out, by my peers and the media is really something I'm grateful for. As you know, it's a staff award, a team award. None of this happens unless the team wins a championship, unless the staff I have comes to work every day with the right mindset. And so I'm really grateful.
Lindsay, I have to say, I was somewhat astonished. I don't think I quite, we're kind of from afar here covering mainly the Big Ten. I don't think I quite realized how difficult a period it had been for USC basketball. I mean, I certainly realized it wasn't at the elite of women's college basketball anymore, but I mean, I think of how great USC women's basketball was when I was a kid and first started following the sport. And then, you took over it at a spot where it was really down, no conference titles in 30 years before this year. So what made you think that you could get it done at USC where others had not?
Well, first, you can see on the wall behind me, these legends, you felt like it was more recent history because the gravity of Cheryl Miller and Cynthia Cooper and Lisa, Tina, the McGee twins, right? This rich history. But you're right, it hadn't been done in a while. A couple things. I felt USC had the inherent qualities that could make for a winning program in women's basketball. An unbelievable university academically, a great location. But really what had been missing for a long time, I think, was a total commitment to go all in on women's basketball and what it takes to be good. And that's partly financial, but it's also just like the structural and emotional commitment by the university. And I just really believe that, Mike Bone, who hired me, and now Jen Cohen, who has taken over, we're really all in on women's basketball. Carol Folt, our president. And I just felt like with those things in place, there was no reason this university and this program couldn't be at the top of the women's basketball world, and we're still fighting for that every day. But we've obviously made a big leap pretty quickly, and I credit everyone's commitment to what we're trying to do here.
I think your story is pretty amazing, and it's been fairly well documented. You had a really bad injury your senior year in high school. You were going to play at Brown, which you did, but weren't able to play at quite the level that you wanted to, and so gravitated gradually toward being a coach. Why do you think coaching has been such a good fit for you?
I spent a lot of time on the bench at Brown. You said it much nicer, but that's what it was. I grew up with a family of lawyers, but I always loved sports. It wasn't until I was in college and I had so many friends who were having collegiate athletic experiences, and some were wildly positive and some were wildly negative. And most of it was about the way they felt about their coach and the way they felt about their team and the chemistry. It wasn't about the dorm food. It wasn't about their biology class. It was about the way that the people made them feel. And so at the same time, I was a big X's and O's nerd. Spent a lot of time watching the other team and what people were running. And at the same time felt like there was an opportunity to have an impact on people. And those two things together, I'm like, wow, this is the profession for me. And I got my first coaching opportunity the day after I graduated from Brown at Syracuse. And I've been a coach every single day of my life since. And so, there have been incredible days and sad days and hard days, but every single day I've been very, very lucky to have a job that I just feel so passionate about and fortunate to have.
Well, I have to believe one of the incredible days was the day that Juju Watkins committed to play at USC, and she has not disappointed. We already mentioned that she is the Big Ten Player of the Year this year. Aside from her incredible talent, like the talent, it just speaks for itself. But what else has made her special to coach?
I mean, someone, I think on your lead in, you mentioned the record in the last 2 years, right? Well, that obviously coincides with, with having Juju in our program. She is an absolute winner. the greats in all of athletics, not just women's basketball, like they have this it quality where, you see a look in their eyes and that they're just, able to do things that sort of transcend just the game plan or, what's in front of them. She has a singular focus on self-improvement and then galvanizing a group to be able to do it with her. She's very magnetic. She's incredibly humble, a terrific teammate, but also carries a confidence knowing that she's built for these moments because she's put the work in. And she's just a special, special person and competitor. And I think it's pretty amazing to see the impact she's had on the community and a team and a program in only 2 years. And she's only 19 years old.
Well, can't wait to see what's next for her. Can't wait to see what's next for this team. You're heading into the postseason, obviously starting play in Indy coming up on Friday. What's the message to your team as you prepare to embark on what I know you hope will be a very long postseason run?
Well, I think, the game on Saturday night kind of was a microcosm of what we've tried to become, right? We have incredible star power with Juju and Kiki, and they're playing at a high level, but we've really become a team. I don't win this award. We don't win the championship. We're probably not, in a position to do the things that Juju and Kiki are going to be able to do from an individual level if the entire team hasn't come together. We've got freshmen contributing at an incredibly high level. We've got depth. We've got senior leadership with TVO and Rhea and Clarice. And I think what we want to do is continue to capture that essence of what's made us good, right? Leaning on each other, playing together, believing in ourselves, having that joy when we play, and really a confidence that, that when we do it our way and we dial into our identity of what we can be, then really the sky's the limit for this program.
Well, Lindsay Gottlieb, can't wait to see what happens here going forward with your crew, but congratulations on what you've accomplished to this point. It has really been fabulous, a well-deserved award, and we appreciate you giving us some of your time.
Thank you. There were so many deserving people in our conference, so many great coaches, so I really, it is very humbling. I really appreciate that.
Well said. Lindsay Gottlieb and the Trojans, they sit atop the bracket for the Big Ten tourney, which again starts with 3 games tomorrow in Indy, 4 Thursday and Friday. Every game, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday here on the Big Ten Network, wall-to-wall coverage as we celebrate Big Ten women's hoops. Shimmy, you will be there covering it. You know Lindsay Gottlieb fairly well. Give us some insight into what you think makes her such a great coach.
I know Lindsay very, very well. So well that she interviewed me for an assistant coaching position at Cal and did not hire me. But we've stayed in touch. We really connected during that time. This was well over a decade ago. And I'll tell you something, she used the word humbling twice to describe how she felt about receiving this award. And she means it. She is an extremely humble human being. She gave me a book. She sent me a book about 10 years ago. And it's called Legacy. It's about the All Blacks New Zealand rugby national team. And there's a section in that book where it's sweep the sheds, whereas no matter how great they are, they always sweep their own sheds after each practice, because that fosters humility. Humility fosters creativity, which fosters growth. She's all about growth. So it's no surprise to me at all that she's been able to do what she's been able to do as far as get those players to play as a team, a group of talented individuals as a team, because that's what she does. Speaks a lot about not just her as a coach, but who she is as a leader and a human being.
There's so much to the mental part of coaching. Obviously, don't need to tell you that because you coached it at such a high level. But that speaks to that, right? This notion of how do you motivate your team and how do you get them to be their best and get better each and every day. And certainly USC has done that under the tutelage of Lindsay Gottlieb. As we wrap up the awards, here are the honorable mention all conference picks. There are 23, I should say, in all. Really showcases the depth of the conference. Plenty of big names here as well. Sydney Parrish, Theron Halleck, Grace Grahalski, just to name a few. Wish we had time to name them all, but congratulations to each and every player who was singled out for excellence today. We mentioned Juju Watkins preeminent among that group. We are going to talk to Juju Watkins coming up here on Big Ten Today, the Player of the Year in the Big Ten, set to join us. Stick around.